Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's what we hope is an exciting new episode. If it's not, sorry. It's been a little bit of an off day. I will be the first to admit I've been giving myself about a C- on most of my performances today. But hopefully it's all gonna change right here, right now. This is my moment in the spotlight, as my mom always told me I would one day get. And today we're talking about the Canik TP9SF Special Forces? I don't know. Are Special Forces units carrying this? Who knows? But it's the SF Elite, which makes it even more cool. Now, B&T, or Brugger and Thomet, they also make a TP9. Who was making their TP9 first? I don't know. Did I just stir up drama? Maybe. I don't know. Is there going to be a lawsuit? I don't know. Maybe. Switzerland and the state of Vermont, which is, I guess, where this is made, they can duke it out and they can figure it out between them now. Celebrity grudge match style. For those of you who are new to the channel, yes, we do eventually get to the reviews. Sometimes it takes me a minute as I track around and we eventually get to our points, but we do hope you will stick around for more than just today's video and subscribe. And if you want to write us a check to support our efforts here, that's fine. You can mail us a check if you want, or whatever, you know, Bitcoin, fucking send me a Bitcoin. I'm cool with it. But for those of you who don't know, behind the scenes, 1911 Syndicate is actually a real estate company. I've got a stupid meathead dog chewing on a stick now who's just going to distract me the whole time. But anyway, we are a real estate company behind the scenes. If you need anything, please hit us up. We do appreciate it. We operate in Utah and Texas and Arizona and Florida and a bunch of different places. Louisville, Kentucky, new recent addition to our lineup. So if you need anything, please do reach out, and we appreciate that. But let's talk a little bit about this Canik. I'll be the first to tell you I was a little bit reluctant to want to do a review on this gun, just because, to be perfectly honest with you, I thought of Canik in the same category as like a High Point. Maybe not quite to that extent, but a similar extent, where I just thought, look, they're cheap budget guns, and I will do a video on one, but I'm not excited about it. And you want to call me pessimistic or whatever? Sure, call me whatever you want. But that was my 2 cents going into this thing before I'd ever shot it. And we will talk a little bit about my experience with it. This gun does not belong to me. It belongs to a friend of mine who was the one that sold me on the idea of doing a review on it. So for Scott watching, let's hug it out. And thanks for letting me borrow your Canik. I do appreciate it. Finn. Knock it off. The dog is really turned into a giant problem on set lately, so you might not be seeing him for much longer, just in case that's a problem for you. But yeah, not my gun. I don't have any relationship with Canik. I don't know those guys. They don't know me. And after this review, they will probably not reach out because they will probably never see this channel. Anyway, on to the video. Let's talk about some of the specs on this little TP9 here. Okay, so let's break it down. The TP9SF Elite this would be considered more of a duty gun, or I think carry gun. For me, it's in the category of a carry gun. It's in an in-between category. So it's basically in between the size of a Glock 19, if we're just gonna use Glock as a reference for this video. It's in between a 19 and a 17. The barrel is right at like 4.2 inches. A Glock 19 would be right at 4, a Glock 17 would be right at 4.5, if I'm not mistaken. So this is kind of in an interesting in-between zone, almost like a 1911 that's a commander size, 4.25. The grip is gonna be closer to the size, well, I haven't measured to see how it compares to a 19, but capacity-wise, it's gonna be the same thing. Or insert whatever other company you like that's not a Glock. I get it, Glock is a polarizing subject for many. But capacity, we've got 15+1 in terms of flush fit mags. Now, you can get other mags. So this is the other mag that came with the gun, and it just has a little extension on it. So in case you're wondering, hey, is there an aftermarket for Canik products like magazine base plates and things like that? Yes, there is some. Obviously, it's not going to be as much as Glock, not to keep referencing them, but sometimes you got to have a benchmark that you're working from. There are longer magazines. I believe I have a 20 that I just don't have on me right now, that you can still use the longer magazine, and it's just going to hang off a little And, you know, does it look a little weird? Sure, you know, in the way that that always looks on guns that weren't made for that magazine, but it works fine, and that's always an option if you wanted to have a 15 in your gun for a flush fit and wanted maybe a 20 or 18 or whatever it is in a pocket or something, or not in a pocket. I'm not saying I just run a backup mag in a pocket. I would never be that lazy, but in case your Neo mag carrier or mag carrier, whatever it may be. But point to all this gun is in an interesting category because you have a slightly longer slide, slightly shorter grip, and that's a formula that I like. For example, I love a Glock 17 that has a grip chop down to the size of a 19. I like having a slightly longer sight radius, and it's a little bit softer on recoil. It's a combination that I like. So I am quite fond of what they did with that. Now, just sort of tracking around, covering some other stuff on the gun, I'm gonna go ahead and address what I think is probably one of the most interesting things, which would be the trigger. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and hit this because probably the thing, I believe it was in an M&P video where I said, hey, look, in terms of striker fire guns, an M&P with a good trigger like an Apex in it is gonna be the best trigger you're gonna feel in a polymer gun. And of course, the comments come out of the woodworks with, this is better, and this is better, and this is better. And one thing that fairly consistently came up in that is that the Canik had a really good trigger. And I was like, dog, I mean, I'll look into it, but I'm not hopeful on it. And I'm here to tell you, one, there's a shit ton of take up, okay? And really what you get, it's almost like a 3-stage trigger or something. So you have stage 1 and you hit a distinct wall. And then you go again and you have stage 2 and you have the second wall. And then, just to make sure, stage 1, stage 2, gun goes off. So it's a ton of take up. But the trigger is money, right? So to everyone, you win. For everyone who's going, look, the Canik trigger is phenomenal. You're right. You're right. Like, I mean, I'm 100%, I was never wrong because I never said whether it was good or bad, but I suspected, hey, look, on a gun that cheap, and we'll get to that, there's no way this trigger is going to be particularly impressive. And dude, it is. It's a little clunky on wall, but the trigger press itself is money. Now the reset is very short to the extent where, look, I bumped it a couple times today as I was shooting it, where because the reset is so light, I was going to hit that reset on a drill or string of fire, whatever, and I reset and immediately, essentially kind of bumped it. It's probably not the technical term, but you get where I'm going. It was like, oh shit, didn't mean to squeeze that round off. So the trigger is very light. It's very crisp. It's nice. For me, just being used to different triggers, you would have to spend a bit of time on it to get particularly fast and efficient with it, especially given that that reset is so light. But hey, to all the Canik lovers out there, just know I'm with you, okay? I'm now on your team. I agree. Canik trigger, fucking butter, okay? So we've got that. Some of the other stuff we've got going on here is slight texture that is, it's okay. We're just gonna because we're running a little long on our day, everyone. So instead of going traditional, hey, we're just gonna hit some features and then pros and cons, just fucking, we're throwing it all into the blender and we're just gonna see what comes out of this thing. So there's a little bit of texture on these two panels of the grip, and then there is back straps. Now the gun comes with multiple back straps, so if you don't like this one, cool, you can swap it out for something that fits you a little bit better. There's a little bit of texture on the front strap, I guess you would call it on this. But so there is some texture. For me, it has the same issue as the SIG 365 lineup, which is, hey, my hand really spends a lot of time hanging out here. And while there is this nice little indentation that's a nice spot for your hand to hang out, there's no texture there. And I do wish that, hey, if you're gonna start a stipple, I just wish you would continue to places where my hand largely hangs out. That would be my 2 cents on that. Overall, grip's okay. It could be better. Nothing great, nothing terrible. It's just, it's all right. Of interesting note, so on this side of the gun, so for you right-handed shooters, you're shooting your gun and you have a nice little stippled index point on the left side of the gun. It's nice, right? Just nice. Gives your little thumb a little home where it's like, hey fella, like welcome home. It's time to go shoot today. Now, if you I'm a lefty, for those of you who don't know, and as I've said many times, fuck lefties, right? Now on our side of the gun, what we have is a badge that on the other side is stippled. On our side of the gun, it says "Made in Turkey." Well, yeah, that's about the treatment and the level of thoughtfulness that we typically expect. Righties, awesome. Lefties, shit's made in Turkey. All right, so, you know, whatever. There's that. Not a particularly high undercut on the trigger. It's not a hard shooting gun, so it's not like recoil management is a problem. It'd be cool if the trigger was undercut or even a double undercut, but again, you could send this off to someone and have them do all that kind of stuff. Of interesting note is the slide release. The magazine release, first of all, let me double check, I believe can be switched over. Reversible mag catch, yes it can. So if you wanted to run your mag catch from here over here, no problem, you can flip that. But the slide release is more what is interesting. Whether it's slide release, slide stop, I don't give a shit. You guys can figure that out on your own. So it's very different than most polymer guns, which is like a small notch and you have to, it's not hard to hit, it's just it's very simple actually, but the Canik is like you have a damn lever on both sides of the gun. I mean, you have a long, beefy ledge that is a full-time ambidextrous slide, stop, release, whatever, right? And when I first got it, I was looking at this and I was going, dude, it's interesting. My concern is that it's so beefy that for sure it's fantastic when it comes to dropping the slide, but because it's riding on both sides of the gun at all time versus being able to pick which side you want it on, which is what I prefer, that you've got a decent shot that as you're shooting and you hit last round, you're gonna override that with your support hand and your slide's not gonna lock back and you're gonna hear a click instead of a bang and you're gonna have to go into tap rack, swap mags, all that good stuff, right? And that I'm about 50-50. I'm about 50-50 if I'm getting, maybe not that high, but I would say most of the time I'm going to slide lock and maybe a third of the time I'm having to go, oh shit, I'm empty, and then jam your gun back up. So it's fantastic when you do go to slide release. It really is very good and I like the design very much, but there's also the risk that you might not go to slide release or slide lock. But let's face it, that's a reality of basically all guns, especially for a right-handed shooter where frequently the controls are just on this side. Very common that you would override that. So nothing new, but just of interest, I would say. Front and rear slide serrations, you've got a light rail, all that good sort of standard stuff there. Another point in favor of this gun, actually two. I got two right off the top of my head. One, you have multiple loaded chamber indicators. So you have in the back here, you are gonna have, right now, basically just looks like a black hole of nothingness. And then once your slide is racked, then you're gonna see a little red dot come out and that's gonna be, it's really not a loaded chamber indicator because obviously there's no gun in there right now, but it's just an indicator of, hey, your trigger has been reset. That might be a better way to look at that one. But there is an actual loaded chamber indicator that's up top. When a round is chambered, this will pop up and it is very tactile. That way, if you had gloves on and you're trying to figure out, hey, it's dark, I've got gloves on, is my gun loaded? If you just rub your thumb or finger, whatever, over that, you will you got a pretty good guarantee that you're gonna feel that. And look, am I likely to ever use that? Maybe not. It depends on what kind of what kind of environment you're operating in, but it certainly doesn't hurt anything. So I chalk it up as a plus. Sights. You got upgraded sights. So you've got Warren tactical sights. You've got a black rear that is, again, that rear sight shape that to me is always a bit confusing, where it's kind of a ledge, but it's also one of these, whatever the Olympic sport is, right? Where you fly off the thing and you just point yourself downwards and hope that you land. That sport, whatever that sport is called, that's how your rear, the sight is. You just fly off the back of that thing. So will it rack off of shit? I don't know. I haven't tried. Let's see, everyone. It's looking good. Hey, solid, right? I could do this all day. I might do it all day, but we're gonna be losing daylight in about an hour, so we better, and fuck, we got another review to do. Look, if the CZ video that we've got coming out soon is in low light, no light conditions, that's why, because I racked this off my belt too many times. But the sights are good. I would prefer a different rear sight shape. That's just me, personal preference. It is a U-notch, and you've got a fiber optic front sight. That is about the extent to which I care to give you a tour of this gun. So let me tell you this. Let's just hit some thoughts. Shockingly good. Like, it's shockingly good. The retail tag on this damn thing is, stay with me for a sec, everyone. I got notes down here. $430. $430 is the MSRP on this thing, and that is borderline like comical. Like, that's a really good gun for 430 bucks. Like Team Canik, you guys are at home and you're just like fist bumping at the TV. Hopefully you watch us on the TV or your phone. You're like on the subway, like, and you're just like fist bumping in the air. But yo, for 430, I'll give it to you. And I think street price, not like street corner, but like street price, like internet, is a little under $4. I think you probably pick them up for like $390 or something, at least in good times. Corona times, maybe not. But like, dude, I mean, I just can't find much to nitpick on this. I mean, the trigger pull's fantastic. I like that the slide is kind of this in-between hybrid zone. It could be carried, you know, it has relatively good sights, like some ambidextrous shit on it. The slide release is a very nice feature. It's a little, you know, prone to get overridden, but guys, I gotta tell you, I can't find much to nitpick on this thing, and I just never would have thought that that was going to be the case coming in. I mean, for real. So the grand question, of course, when everyone's like, yo, that's the Glock killer. First of all, nothing's ever going to, there's no killers, okay? Doesn't make sense. Like, Glock killer, what does that mean? Like, Glock's going to go out of business because the Canik came out? No, nothing's going to kill a Glock. But in terms of, hey, look, can this compete with a Glock? Dude, many of the features are significantly better than what you get for a Glock at less the price. Does it have the track record and the history of reliability of Glock? To be perfectly fair, I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not going to chime in on that, but I'm here to tell you, solid gun. I'm impressed. I'm very happy with it. I would not hesitate to buy one. I don't shoot a lot of polymer guns, but if I was getting back into it, I would not hesitate to buy one. So it's made in Turkey, but also in Vermont. So I don't know which one of these is true. Turkey, Vermont, who knows? But anyway, I hope that leaves you with something. If you are looking for a budget pistol that doesn't seem like a budget pistol, damn it, TP9SF Elite. Go get you some, America. Peace.